There has been a lot of praise for Kingdom's newest title track, Ascension, which is released on March 31st, 2022. And rightfully so. The song is super catchy, the story is very dramatic, and the choreo is so satisfying. Everything is on point, and these boys have worked hard to give Kingmaker something really special. Except, not everyone wants Kingdom to succeed. I recently came across a lot of NPCs on Twitter using the same copy-paste comment with terrible punctuation that basically accuses Kingdom of plagiarizing another song called Lit by Danjong of SM Entertainment. If you look through these comments, there is not a single piece of evidence to support this claim. It is almost as if these people never sat down to compare both music videos side by side, so let's put this pretend controversy to rest once and for all. Before we actually dive into the music videos themselves, we must first step back and see the two videos in their most rudimentary levels, their intent and meaning. First, we will look at what Lay is trying to convey in his Lit music video, which was released June 6, 2020. There is a lot to unpack here, so let's go over the most important points that Lay made very prevalent in his music video. The word Lit in Mandarin Chinese is lian, which means lotus. The lotus flower has important symbolism in Chinese culture, as Lay himself is Chinese and is very passionate in portraying his culture in his music. In Chinese culture, the lotus flower has a deep connection to Buddhism. This is because of how a lotus grows. The lotus flower rises up through the mud and blooms without stain or blemish. This demonstrates purity, as the flower endured both difficulty and an unclean setting and emerged untouched by both. By enduring hardship, the lotus also represents strength, resilience, and rebirth, qualities that are often valued in the Buddhist faith. In saying I am the Lit, Lay is declaring himself as the embodiment of the lotus flower, resilient, strong, able to push through life's hardships, and make it on top unblemished. His lyrics even say, "Look closely, 'cause I am indeed untainted by filth." Not only is Lay making himself into a lotus symbol, he also invokes powerful imagery to place himself upon a throne of sorts. This imagery is none other than the dragon, the very symbol of the king. In Chinese culture, the dragon is seen to bring about good luck and power, and is always associated with the king of the land. The way Lay is looking into the face of the dragon in the Lit music video shows something very powerful and significant, almost as if the dragon was a part of him, or empowers Lay's quest to be king. Of course, Lay's explicit reference to a royal identity is merely metaphorical, a reference to his experiences and desires in the music industry. While explaining the meaning behind Lit, Lay even says that the dragon symbolizes his aspirations and dreams of rising in his music career. So, in summary, the Lit music video uses the symbols of the lotus, demonstrating purity and resurrection, as well as the dragon, depicting a powerful aspiration that will guide and protect, as well as carry one to the top. Now that we have unpacked Lit, let us now look at the intentions and meanings behind Kingdom's Ascension. To do this, we must first understand Kingdom's main group concept. Kingdom is composed of 7 members, each representing a king of legend or in history, originating in various countries like Russia, China, and France. 7 kings, 7 kingdoms. While some of the kings they represent are real people in history, such as Ivan the Terrible or Shah Jahan, their interpretations are just that, interpretations, variations, embellishments. What you see in their music videos is a fantasy retelling of a classic story from somewhere in the world. Beyond simple retellings, each music video also captures an important theme for each king that is being highlighted. In Excalibur, there is a clear theme of death and rebirth in the story of King Arthur. In Karma, King Chiwu makes the difficult journey of redemption after his mistakes brought his kingdom to ruin. In Black Crown, King Ivan struggles in an obvious battle of good and evil within him. Now, Kingdom's 4th title track, Ascension, tells the story of King Danjong of Joseon, the theme of which is the king's fight for his birthright, his fight to return to glory after everything had been snatched away from him unjustly. Now that we have a better understanding of Kingdom's concept and the theme of Ascension, let us now look at the similarities between this music video and Lei's music video. There are two key scenes that I noticed having similarities, though none of the NPCs pointed them out specifically, strangely enough. The first major scene of both music videos shows a lone man at odds with an army that rushed to surround him with their spears. The location is a royal palace in an East Asian country in some unknown ancient dynasty period. Are these two scenes similar? Yes, they are. But is one a copy of the other? No. There are clear differences in context, there are clear differences in setting, in motivation. Everything is set up very differently, despite the fact that the visual is similar. We know that Lei's scene is very metaphorical, while King Danjong's scene is very literal. This is something that happened in history. An interpretation of history, but history nonetheless. To show an example of carbon copy plagiarism, let us take a look at a real plagiarism case that happened in March of 2021 involving Lei's lit music video. The Indonesian artist, who goes by the name Young Lex, released his music video called Raja Terakhir that shamelessly ripped off Lei's lit music video in several scenes involving special effects, costume design, and even nail art. It's impossible to see the similarities as just coincidence, because Young Lex didn't bother adding his own personal touch. Instead, he just stole ideas from another, and that person being Lei. There's no variation, there's no difference in context, everything is just exactly the same. It is a copy, it is blatant plagiarism, and after fans found out, the music video was eventually taken down. The second scene of comparison is hardly similar, but I wanted to bring it up anyway for the sake of addressing this issue fully. We already know that the dragon appears at the end of Lit as a symbol of a guiding aspiration to help one push on towards success. But there is another mythological creature that appears at the end of Ascension that is summoned by King Danjong. Those who don't know what the creature is will not understand why it appears or what it means, and they will unfairly count it as plagiarism, citing it as a similar scene of the Lone King summoning a creature of legend at the front of the palace at nighttime. This creature is called the Bongwang in Korean, while in Chinese it is the Fenghuang. It is the king of all birds, and it is divine because it is the unification between the yin and yang energies of the universe, and it is not to be confused with the phoenix of Western mythology. Fun fact, the History of Kingdom Part 2 Chiu Dusk version actually did have a Fenghuang bird on the cover. Hey, I thought that was interesting, so shut up. In East Asia, there's this idea of the divine mandate in which the gods have chosen and blessed the current king. King Dan, who represents King Danjong of Joseon, summons a Bangwan bird to show that it is his divine right to be the sovereign ruler of the land. In this version of the story, King Dan will stop at nothing to reclaim his throne and his birthright. Remember, this is just an interpretation of true events. This is an example of giving a happy ending to an otherwise tragic story. While the real King Danjong was forced to abdicate at a young age, sent into exile and later executed, this version takes on a much more mature and hopeful theme of fighting to reclaim the throne. So we've looked at both music videos and unpacked and compared the scenes that were the most similar. We can see that nothing is directly mirrored or copied, with clear differences making both stand apart. Lei did not invent or copyright the idea of being surrounded by spears or summoning a creature of divine nature, nor are any shots directly copied. These similar scenes in question are mere coincidence, as both music videos take inspiration from ancient times of war and rebellion and divine authority. Let's just enjoy both masterpieces as separate pieces of art and appreciate the different themes and meanings that they portray. Thank you all so much for watching, and close the gate.